Hi, my name is Healh. I'm the head of conference programming for Fierce Life Sciences, and today I'm excited to speak with David Schronk, Senior Vice President, Media for Health Union. Thanks for speaking with us today, David.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into things. What do you think is next for the future of pharma marketing?
Where I'd like to start is where pharma has been left behind compared to other industries. And I think that's really a focus on harnessing the power of consumers. If you go back about 23 years, back to when DTC was formed, if you as a consumer wanted to go out to a restaurant, a new restaurant in your neighborhood, you had to go and call a friend or go to the newspaper and look for a food critic. And nowadays, we have apps, we have Yelp, right? You can go on Yelp and you can crowdsource opinions from thousands of people. You can find out the name of the owner, the best dishes, the waiter, or the waitress to get, even where to park, right? And I think a lot of that has been left behind in the pharmaceutical industry. We just really haven't engaged. And it's been about 10 years since I've been out of pharma. And really, things haven't changed much. There's a lot of window dressing. The tech is better. DTC is still somewhat of a checkbox. But for me, I've seen some progress. And I think that's really in the amount of people talking about consumer centricity. And really, I think I'm starting to see advances in harnessing social connections also, but it's really just still in its infancy, excuse me. And I think I think in 2020, we all gotten a curveball with COVID and the shutdown. But I think the pharmaceutical companies that are able to evaluate their business model, especially during these times when what they do in their daily basis has been shut down, all the personal connections and HCP and managed service, all of that stuff hasn't been able to go on as planned, but consumer advertising has. And I think the companies that go all in and commit further to consumer centricity and consumer and social marketing as primary drivers, not secondary or tertiary, I think they're the ones that are going to win in the future.
Can you share something with us about what your innovation roadmap looks like?
Sure. So innovation at Health Union is really guided by kind of a fundamental philosophy, and that's to meet people where they are and how they want to be engaged. Really, we try to be a force for good on social media. For us, it's really about enhancing connections to one another and so the power that you get there. So we've published a lot of research, peer-reviewed, about the benefits that people receive from developing connections, and our roadmap is really focused on allowing people to achieve these better outcomes. So I know there's a lot out there in technology, advertising, big data, artificial intelligence. That's all exploding, right? But the way we look at it is everything we're looking to do in our roadmap goes through the lens of privacy first, because it's not really about can you or should you do it. Our roadmaps all start with the idea of respect and respecting privacy and trying to gain permission and building out solutions for that world. In the interim, it sometimes can leave us behind competitors. It can leave us lagging a little bit in innovation, I think. But I think we're okay with that because the people who come to our communities, the people who interact with us socially, in the end, they know when you respect them. And I think that's what we focus on.
What media strategy recommendations do you have for pharma marketers in today's changing landscape?
Okay. So I think for this one, it gets a little complex because we talked about the commitment to consumers, but I think and there's a little bit of a lack of commitment to consumers out there. But I think I multiply it by about 100 times when it comes to media, right? Pharmaceutical companies have really had a tough time in understanding consumer media. It's just not been a specialty for them. And lately, in the last 10 years, it's really been socially dominated and it's become extremely fragmented. I was laughing because I was counting last night. I have about 12 devices I can watch TV on in my house, and I probably missed a few, right? And so I think because of this incredibly complex, marketplace, it's really requiring an expertise in technology, advertising, database marketing, statistics, along with all the regulatory information that pharmaceuticals come along with. And so when you consider all of this, I think it's really important to get people to understand the majority of digital media. It's no longer even measured correctly due to privacy changes, right? So it's really difficult to get people to understand those types of concepts, understand the detail that goes into them, and the planning needed for that. And so I think in the end, for my big thing is that pharma companies need to invest in consumer marketers, media specialists, and the ones who do will win because they can invest, they can hire, they can empower and train people. and give people an actual consumer and media career progression. Because when you look at pharmaceutical companies, you look at the executives, they are all former, they came from R&D or they came from sales generally, right? Maybe some marketing, but generally no one came from consumer. There is no leads of those worlds. And I think until they change that some, and there's more of a career path, you're going to get people in who are innovative, who understand things, but they're going to come in and out very quickly because there's no place for them to go. So I know you'd like some specific media strategies about, evaluating or using more emerging media or social opportunities and such, but it's really difficult to tell someone to invest in social media when they ask you, like, what does Facebook look like, or to invest in connected TV when they're not really sure that the difference between connected or advanced or OTT, or they've never planned a media campaign before. And so I think it's a big missed opportunity. And what I can tell pharma is really, if you meet people where they are and how they want to be met, and I think if you connect them to others like themselves, they'll do well, right? And I think if they keep that overriding strategy, that consumer centricity at the forefront of what they do, we won't be having this interview in 10 years and saying it's still 1997.
Well, I appreciate your insights and thoughts today, and for you to take the time and speak with us.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.